Hello, friends. Welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister. We're in Bible study. We're in the NIV, and we will be through the end of 2025. In 2026, we'll start the KJV. In this video, we're in Exodus, chapter 40, or the end of our second book of the Bible. We got a lot more to go in this because we're going to do the whole Old Testament. But should take a moment and celebrate. If you've been with me this whole time, we have made it all the way through Genesis, and we are about to make it all the way to the end because we're going to go all the way to verse 38 of this chapter, the very end of it. So let's just take a moment and just appreciate the amount of time spent just to get to here. Because hasn't it been something? Already into the second month of the year and everything. Whew, where's the time gone? We've covered so much, hundreds of years in this time, thousands of years almost in this time frame, or at least 1,000, I think. Because 430 years they were in Egypt as slaves. And then the time from the time of, Joseph to all the way back to Noah. So almost 1,000 years. Over 500 for sure. So it's quite some time, quite the journey, right? And still all following the exact same family of people who initially came out of Mesopotamia. Now, Mesopotamia, this side Turkey, this side Iraq. Not all of Iraq, not all of Turkey, but this in-between part. Once upon a time. Up near Mosul, I think. Was it? So, yeah. Abraham. Mesopotamian. Yeah. Iraqi. Or Turkish. Take your pick. In fact, up in the Turkey area, I just shared the other day, the 31st. I shared an article about the genetic connections between the people who are in that area and even the Ashkenaz people who are in the French-German border over there, and all the connections to the rest of the Jewish people. They're finding, with all the genetics advancements, that they carry the exact same roots and everything, that the genome is matching. You just never know, right? Just never know. So let's jump into this where we are right now. Exodus chapter 40, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, set up the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, on the first day of the month. Place the ark of the testimony in it, and shield the ark with the curtain. Bring in the table and set out what belongs on it. Then bring in the lampstand and set up the lamps. Place the gold altar of incense in front of the ark of the testimony, and put the curtain at the entrance of the tabernacle. Place the altar of burnt offering in front of the entrance of the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. Place the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar, and put water in it. Okay. Set up the courtyard around it, and put the curtain at the entrance to the courtyard. Okay, take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and everything in it. Consecrate it and all of its furnishing, and it will be holy. So notice this, Moses is consecrating it, not Aaron. Then anoint the altar of the burnt offering and all its utensils. Consecrate the altar, and it will be most holy. Anoint the basin and its stands, and consecrate them. Bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and wash them with water. Then dress Aaron with the sacred garments, anoint him and consecrate him so he may serve me as a priest. Bring his sons and dress them in tunics. Anoint them just as you anointed their father, so that they may serve me as priests. Their anointing will be to a priesthood that will continue for all generations to come. Moses did everything just as the Lord commanded him. So the tabernacle was set up on the first day of the first month in the second year. When Moses set up the tabernacle, he put the bases in place, erected the frames, inserting the crossbars, and set up the posts. Then he spread the tent over the tabernacle and put the covering over the tent, just as the Lord commanded him. So it does sound like he's doing this solo. He took the testimony and placed it in the ark and attached the poles to the ark and put the atonement cover on it. Then he brought the ark into the tabernacle and hung the shielding curtain and shielded the ark of the testimony as the Lord commanded him. Moses placed the table in the tent of meeting on the north side of the tabernacle outside of the curtain and set out the bread on it before the Lord as the Lord commanded him. He placed the lampstand in the tent of meeting opposite of the table on the south side of the tabernacle and set up the lamps before the Lord as the Lord commanded him. Moses placed the gold altar in the tent of meeting in front of the curtain and burned fragrant incense on it as the Lord commanded him. Then he put up the curtain at the entrance of the tabernacle. He set the altar of burnt offering near the entrance to the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and offered on it a burnt offering and a grain offering as the Lord commanded him. He placed the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar and put water in it for washing. And Moses and Aaron and his sons used it to wash their hands and feet. They washed whenever they entered the tent of meeting or approached the altar as the Lord commanded Moses. Then Moses set up the courtyard around the tabernacle and altar and put up the curtain at the entrance to the courtyard. And so Moses finished the work. The glory of the Lord. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses could not enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled upon it and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. So imagine it's like smoke suddenly fills the tent that you have no explanation for. Only it's more than that because I cannot go in there. I'm not purified enough to go in there. In all the travels of the Israelites, whenever the cloud lifted above the tabernacle, they would set out. But if the cloud did not lift, they did not set out until the day it lifted. So the cloud of the Lord was over the tabernacle by day, and the fire was in the cloud by night, in the sight of all of the house of Israel during all their travels. So if they traveled by night, they could follow the fire. But all day, they could see this cloud over the tabernacle. And that's kind of amazing that the God sort of showed up in that fashion for them in a 3D way. How many of us would really so love to be able to have that kind of level of 3D proof of God's interaction with us, right? Most of us I can't even begin to how much that direct proof in such a vivid way would have such an impact on so many people. I can almost guarantee you. So, until the next video, friends.